Hi, I'm Raymond, and you're listening to Insert Quest here. Today's quest is Base Raiders. This is quite possibly the penultimate episode. But this is episode 2 of Heat 6. We're going to be hitting up the moon, but how about we have our players introduce themselves first, starting with Mr. Mannix.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan. You might recognize my voice from such actual play podcasts as this one, and also Raiderade, which you should all totally be listening to. Tonight, I'm going to be playing Amriel, who is a demon who was summoned to Earth by an evil sorceress who disappeared during Ragnarok, and now she is a semi-reformed demonic base raider. Jury's still out on the reform.
For half a second there, I thought you were going to say, and now she's a lesbian. Which also would have been a fitting way to resolve that line.
Yeah.
A demon, and now she's gay.
Hey, she's transcendent. She can be whatever she wants.
Yep.
Oh, that's what the second T in the queer alphabet is for.
Yep. Transcendent.
Transcendent.
I think our reporter friend will go next.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize Ryan was done. I was too busy interrupting him like an asshole. Hey, I'm Alex, and I am going to be playing Greg, the sentient alien nanoswarm. Greg is not a demon. He is a cloud, and he is not a lesbian. He is non-sexual because he's a cloud, and he has built a spaceship to go to the moon. Well, modified a spaceship to go to the moon.
Although it's not your endpoint, really.
No, it's meant to go to another planet.
Greg's
dreams
will not go to the moon.
No, moon schmoon.
We were going there anyway.
We choose to go to the moon, not because it is hard, but because it is a reasonable distance to test our spaceflight capabilities.
Not because it is hard, but because it is literally on the way.
Good. And I'm Finn, and I'm playing Yuri. Once rally raid racer, died in a horrific crash, resurrected to be a robot samurai warrior, and then following Ragnarok, struck out to find a new path of thrill-seeking and moral dilemmas in base raiding.
I'm always impressed by everyone else's ability to say Ragnarok without pausing for a second and double-checking whether they're about to say the wrong one.
You say it so naturally as though it was the right one every time.
Indeed. Now, when we left off, you believed you'd finished most of the necessary modifications to your spaceship. But some people had...
But Twist, we didn't.
But Twist, you're actually all dead in space. Campaign over, I tricked you. It's not the penultimate episode, it's the ultimate episode. No. We also did ticked some boxes and spent some points afterwards. Some people just...
That's right.
Yeah, indeed. Now we're not going to go into that, but basically everything we talked about, the spaceship being done, we then loosey-goosey tried to actually do some power mechanic stuff and use this system the way it's meant to and buy some things.
Yeah.
To limited effect. So, this changes our actual game. Exactly none. But we did do some mechanic stuff behind the scenes. Now, I believe you guys were going to go scout the moon before the mission.
Yep.
So, I think we should kick things off, I guess, in the spaceship and describe to me what the cockpit looks like and how Greg interacts with it, and your preparation for launch procedures. You know,
Okay.
this is like give me your best
So-
impersonation of Apollo 13.
Yeah. Just FYI, I spent 2 refresh on the ship. I dumped 1 refresh to give it weapon 3. Or deadly 3. Sorry. I wrote weapon
Yes.
instead of deadly. It has deadly 3 for health because I'm not going to use a spaceship to attack someone's composure.
Really? Are you
I mean,
sure?
I guess it could, but it's not
You can
Greg's
attack someone's composure as they see the looming spaceship overhead.
Bow before me, all hail the glow cloud. It is
Mighty
not
glow
well made
cloud.
though. I gave it protective, so it gives 1 armor.
Oh, well, that's good.
Or actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it protective 3. I'm going to drop 3 refresh into this,
You guys
so
have
it
it
has
to
6
spare.
armor. Yeah, and the third refresh is for 3 aspects, which I'm still kind of coming up with.
Well, one
but
has
so you
got
know,
to be like junkyard spaceship or something, right?
I'm thinking repurposed Nazi spaceship is 1.
All right, sure. I look forward to seeing you invoke that aspect and seeing how it gets invoked. Cool. Repurpose.
Oh no, not repurposed, renovated.
Okay, that works because then you can be
Yeah.
like, oh, well, it's got that because we did some renovations. I
We
can see
renovated
that
it,
aspect being more invocable.
And 2 others. So
Which
I'm also gonna-
you know, if anyone's got another good one for it, speak your piece now, or else
Yeah.
you know it'll be made up in the moment.
So we still have our fate points from the last game. So if I drop my refresh goes down by 3, but the fate points I had at the end of the last session stay, right? Or do I
Yes.
drop those with my refresh?
No, they would stay the same. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. So the cockpit is I'm going to say it's the second, like the ship is UFO shaped, so it's a big saucer.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a little bump on the top, and there's a section that's not the very very top, but like the deck under that. There's a domed room, and that is where the cockpit is. And there's still banks of like a 19 computer equipment in there. So there's like Star Trek-ish giant computers with rolls of tape and Tesla coils that shoot electricity and lots of glowing buttons. But the real control panel is an iPad that Greg has retrofitted to hit so that he can interact with it.
It's the Nazi UFO has a thunder port.
Yeah, there's an iPad and like 2 joysticks that Greg can manipulate.
So Greg can only pilot this because he has his hologrammy thing.
I was thinking that, or I was thinking that there's maybe not.
It's
No,
not
that's
a
not
Bluetooth-enabled spaceship.
It could be.
Because Greg can
'cause
connect
if
to
the wire-
Bluetooth.
If the wireless connection goes down, though, then he can't pilot it.
Well, yeah, but like if the hydraulics fail in an airplane, you can't fly it either. Like, what's
That's
your
true.
point?
All right, so the joysticks are backups, but it is a Bluetooth-enabled spaceship.
Hands-free
So Greg-
spaceship.
Greg just pilots it.
Which means if you build like a radio booster, you can remote control it.
Yeah. Good to know. I'm just going to write down Bluetooth.
Bluetooth and I mean that could be an aspect.
I think one of the other aspects is Angel Heart Reactor.
Ah, right, yes.
Heart of an angel.
Yep.
and I'll think of a third one.
I mean, you could have Bluetooth enabled UFO as an aspect.
Maybe. I'll think about it. Yeah, so that's the cockpit. So there's room for at least the three of us in there.
Are there seats?
I'm gonna say no.
Or is Yuri and Amriel just gonna hold on real tight?
Well, theoretically, it's a smooth ride.
Yeah, I mean, its main propulsion is anti-gravity, but
Also, how many skill points? Greg is gonna put some of his 30 skill points into pilot.
Sounds good. If you ask me how much that costs, I don't know off the top of my head.
Neither do I.
I think pretty sure it just costs the amount at what level you want to put it at for pluses.
Yeah, you just have to keep your skill pyramid intact.
Right.
So you need to have more. So if you put it at, I can't remember.
So the easiest way is to just put it at the top.
Yeah, that's true.
Make it one higher than whatever you've got best at now.
Yeah, that would work.
I've only got 2. I've got 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'd have to put it at the bottom.
I mean, you could always just put a new skill in each of the ones below. You've got enough skill points. Just pick out 3 skills that you want.
And just bump everything up.
Like, you guys haven't been spending them because we've been like, the mechanical side of this game.
Well, I mean, we only essentially roughly agreed that the correct way of increasing your skills is to just spend it point for point, which doesn't really make sense, but seems incomprehensible any other way.
Yeah.
Shrugs.
Like 1 point gets you a +1. Maybe I should spend it. Maybe I should just move my pyramid up like 3 steps.
Maybe
that's what I'm doing right now.
But
basically.
also, I can't be fucked.
Maybe making fate super complicated was a bad idea. Which I will point out is on whoever the fuck designed the Kerberos Club. It's not Ross Payton's fault.
Well,
it's
Ross Payton's fault for choosing this system. However, I still think, for the most part, Base Raiders is worth your time and money. I would just run it in normal Fate.
Alright, so I think I just spent 8 Fate points to bump up my skills.
why not?
I'm willing to believe it.
If they're power skills, do they cost more points?
Yes, they do.
Changing tier costs refresh, but...
Yeah,
no, not tier,
but just bonuses.
Not my tier.
I'm pretty sure we established that there's nothing in the rules that actually tells you how to increase your bonuses.
If they're power tags, then you have to build them like a power, or buy them as if you were adding something.
No, I'm not. Basically, I changed my sentient cloud skill from +3 to +4.
Sure, whatever. I'm not going to fret over it with 2 runs to go.
All right.
You spent some skill points on it, and so we're going to continue in earnest and trust that you did the best you could with what we had.
I think I did.
Let's face it, we don't have a great understanding of the mechanical side of Base Raiders, and we did devote a lot of time to trying to get there, but it became more fun to just play and have a go.
We gave it our best.
We gave it the old college try, as they say in America.
All right. So that's the cockpit. Lots of golden era tech that does absolutely nothing.
Brilliant.
Yuri just like presses buttons idly in the background.
No, don't press that button, Yuri!
Shout something about it. Can't take any more, Greg. Boop, 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 boop.
No, it's fine. You can press all those buttons you want. They're not connected to anything.
I know, Greg. That's why I'm pressing them.
Have fun. Yeah. All right. So it's time for liftoff, I guess.
All
So
right,
the plan is
So
we
what
have.
are
How
your
many days
your
until?
take-off procedures? I assume that you're doing this like a week and a half out or something. But what are your take-off
Okay.
procedures? You know, do this
Um,
as if you were narrating a spaceship launch scene, because that's exactly what you're doing. So you know,
I flick 3 switches, and then we're no. That was a fire. joke.
make rocket go now. That's from something. I can't remember what.
All right, everyone ready?
Nope.
Well,
No,
theoretically,
I'm just messing with you. Go, Greg.
this should be a nice, easy ride to the moon. But just in case, you might want to hold on to something.
Shouldn't we be strapped into something?
Okay, so I'm going to say that your
I haven't been to space
spaceship,
before.
in order to achieve, gravity nullification,
Mm-hmm.
require and mass reduction requires large quantities of liquid nitrogen as well as other volatiles.
Okay.
In order to give you a jumping off point for the description of this scene. So there's a bunch of tubes outside that have been plugged in, and TKS is monitoring as they pump liquid nitrogen into storage tanks on your thing.
Okay.
Now, the reason they're monitoring it, one, is because they are trying to reverse engineer the anti-gravity thing because they want to be the #1 manufacturer of flying cars. So they're hoping that they understand the way this works properly, and they're hoping that they've got the liquid nitrogen distribution properly set up for the engine. Because only really one of the anti-gravity devices was intact after the crash. And they had to rebuild the others based on it.
I hope we got it right, too.
And in an emergency, you've also got those 4 giant thrusters to lift you up.
Yep.
But yes, they're pumping that in. Is anybody monitoring the liquid nitrogen levels?
Can I make it a little more dramatic?
Sure, go for it.
So I recently learned that the SR-71 Blackbird leaks fuel until it gets up to very high speeds because the metal expands, and they realized it wasn't worth it to try to fix it. So like the fuel tanks have holes built into them that leak fuel.
So once the metal expands, it doesn't leak anymore because the material fills itself? Right, okay.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say is that the storage tanks have a similar thing. The excess heat from the engine heats them and makes them expand, so there's holes in them. So the whole time they're pumping the liquid nitrogen in, it's just some of it's leaking out and just causing smoke, foggy smoke everywhere along the bottom of the ship.
Brilliant. That's exactly the kind of shit I want to hear.
All right, time to start the countdown. TKS was very insistent that we give them warning before we activate the engine. This is the, we need to. Oh, wait! I just realized it is human tradition to name crafts. I have not named this.
I'm really glad you didn't just shout, "Abort the countdown!"
What's a good name?
No, I have it. Ground control, this is the fart's revenge.
Oh, God.
Do you copy?
Oh. Everyone on board just like puts their head in their hands.
What? You always call me fart.
Person in ground control puts their head in their hands.
Yes, fart's revenge. We copy. Thank you for notifying us of the call sign change. We were just gonna go with repurposed Nazi UFO down here at Mission Control. Mission Control being one of the TKS triplets sitting in a van.
Yeah. Out of character. Is that too silly, or is that all right?
It's base Raiders. Like, we're not playing our Apocalypse Mode campaign. You can make it as fucking silly as you want. You could call it Walla Dilla Dong Dong if you wanted. I don't give a shit.
If this was a problem, Raymond wouldn't have allowed you to be a sentient fart cloud as he was initially considering.
Exactly. Which actually did happen because I was still in Apocalypse World mode, and I was like, no, this character design is just silly.
Just as soon as you were like, I'm going to play a City of Far card, and Ram was like,
And then I was like, no, wait, it's Space Raiders, it's fine.
All right. So a clock pops up on the iPad, counting down a minute.
Are we going on 0 or like after
Is
0?
3, 2, 1, go, or 3, 2, 1?
3, 2, 1, go.
When the clock hits 0, the engines will ignite. Well, not ignite. There's no.
They will arc
ignition
because there was weird lightning coming off of them.
Oh yes, they will arc.
They have big thrusters, but they also have the anti-gravity thingies. The anti-gravity things do most of the work. The thrusters kind of give you that initial rip yourself out of the earth thing, which you don't have to do because you're sitting on a beach, like you're not buried under Paris.
Yeah. Oh, it should be smooth sailing. Did you remember to bring food and water?
Frantically searches their pockets.
I want to say yes.
I've got a nut bar.
It's a 3-day trip to the moon. I hope a muesli bar's enough.
Enough for you and the organism that occupies your skin.
I figured it might be a little faster than 3 days if this is a.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, worst case.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Depending on traffic,
If you just fucking drift there after you get out of atmosphere, 3 days.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So the Datsun is locked down in the storage bay or in the bottom.
Yeah, Yuri like has been keeping you guys out of the storage bay. Apparently, it's been his space.
Need my
That's
zone.
fine.
Didn't want anybody messing with it.
As long as he vacuum sealed the Datsun, that's fine.
Shit, I knew I forgot something.
I did that.
Indeed, you did. If by vacuum sealed you mean duct taped, no.
just
Excuse me, I used no more gaps. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I used caulk.
Let's see what the big deal with NASA is.
I used linen soaked in tar. Why? That's what they use on boats. Why wouldn't that work on the vacuum space?
This is a space boat.
Exactly.
Embryo, I'm going to need you to duct tape me into my car.
I have a question.
Okay.
Because I've never had an iPhone or anything. Does Siri do the thing that Clippy does?
Which is
Where it sees that you're trying to do something and offers a suggestion? Is that a thing? Or is Siri just
No.
like, okay, Google?
I
No,
think
it's just
pretty-
like Google.
Just like OK Google.
Okay, because Cortana sometimes thinks that I'm trying to talk to her and will make suggestions. I'm like, I've never gotten you to work before. Why would I want you to work now?
No, I'm never talking to Cortana unless I'm on my Xbox.
Okay, so the countdown app continues to tick as you approach 20 seconds. 19, 18, 17, other numbers.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. And
What?
Greg doesn't mentally hits a button and
And then
everything. I'm gonna say that because we're still working out some of the kinks in the ship. This is the test run. The ship lifts off, but the anti-gravity affects the entire ship.
Brilliant. Yeah, so as you turn on the anti-grav, lightning arcs across the sand as your anti-grav generators are basically half buried in the sand because it's sitting on the beach. You see it arc across the water of the beach as well, and lots of dead fish rise up to the surface. People
They'll
are
eat well tonight.
people are running. The fueling tubes snap off as you start to launch and just turning the beach to glass. as it's shooting lightning across it, and then Yuri, you start to float.
I think Yuri was very specifically not holding on to anything.
Cool. So Yuri, you start to float. Emriel, you feel a crushing weight in your chest.
Oh God.
Well, I got the better half of this deal.
Yeah, yeah.
As you two are kind of on opposite sides of the room from one another.
I'm gonna begin rapidly crawling my way over to where
Yuri is like, I'm essentially like standing there with my arms crossed, watching this take off, and then
So that
I just lift off the ground.
And then your head kind of bumps against the roof.
Punk. I'm like, You right, Emriel?
Maybe hopefully I can end up halfway between, so that I don't end up like crushed to paste or something.
Yeah, Emriel, you're crawling across the room as you feel a massive weight on you, and then Greg, you get an alert on your app, on your space management app. It's basically just like a repurposed Artemis simulator.
Spaceship.
Yeah, and it says that you're having a power drain on one of the anti-grav devices. It's creating a huge spike in power use.
Wow.
But your app is not doesn't have features with which to tell you what these things mean because, as you said, it's a repurposed app. You didn't spend time programming a new app.
No, not yet. Yuri, take the stick. I have to go see what's wrong with the engine. And Greg leaves. Actually, wait, no, it's Bluetooth in it. I got this. So Greg just
Bluetooth enabled. You can just walk. You can go anywhere in the ship and control.
Greg says nothing. Just goes and leaves. Leaves the cockpit.
Yuri's like, okay, bye, Greg.
Away.
Should he be
doing that? I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. Emriel, you finally get to the other side of the room, and you see one of the panels on the far side of the wall, far side of the room where you just were. You see like a bunch of the dials and things on it. The glass breaks and shatters, and like one of the metal panelings of the side bends in on itself.
Should we be concerned about getting to crush depth over there? What's
Greg seems to have it under control. I guess as long as
Meanwhile,
on this side.
Meanwhile, in the engineering crawl space, Greg was feeling under pressured. As you feel yourself becoming almost liquid, Greg, as you draw closer and closer to the generator, to the engine.
Well, Greg is going to activate his holo projector because the gravity won't affect that, and you'll be able to reach it. And then
so you give yourself giant slappy hands.
Basically, yeah.
So that you can reach out.
And I'm going to try to fix whatever's wrong with the reactor there.
It becomes pretty obvious to you what's happening. You must have installed some of the components wrong, and it is creating excess gravity.
Too much gravity. Classic problem.
A classic problem that could literally only happen in like a science fiction world.
Yeah. So Greg is going to pull out the computer chips and flip them around and put them back
Computer chips? What do you mean? You mean cathode ray tubes and shit?
The valves.
Yeah, you pull out the valves.
Greg's going to turn the valves and basically pull out some fuses and flip them around and put them back in the other way.
Yeah, I won't make you make a check. This is more a time-consuming thing.
Yeah.
Back in the cockpit, and Alex, you can have Greg come into this scene at any point when you feel it is dramatic and comedically effective. You guys are watching the far side of the room just continue to crush itself, but it's not like pulling towards a central point. It's just crushing down. Like it's just being pulled towards the floor, but it's not like a black hole or anything. It's not even being pulled towards the engine.
Okay. Yuri's still just like generally floating. And I'm like, I'm kind of Emerald. I'm heading towards the middle.
I will.
Like,
I will
grab my leg.
Yeah, I will grab Yuri and pull him back over toward the area where everything floats and it's not getting squished.
Yuri, I assume you're wearing your super suit.
I don't think I would be at this point. I
Oh,
kind of
really?
only put it on when we go out.
You're not gonna wear your super suit for the fucking space flight? What kind of astronaut
You
operation?
said it doesn't help me in vacuum, so like, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't help you in vacuum, but it can feel gravitons and tachyons and shit, and it is fireproof. Well, fire resistant.
It's fine. The
Alright,
suit is
I'm
also
just saying.
idly floating.
Yeah, suit is nearby.
We form like a human chain, so it's just us, me, Amriel, and Suit holding onto each other.
I will pull Yuri away from the dead space obstacle that Alex has created.
Yeah, brilliant. You see a mass of misformed limbs emerge from it, screaming. No.
Yuri like grabs onto
You
some console
die,
thing
flesh bags.
and then hugs the suit to himself, like holding it around the waist.
Mm-hmm. A can of Raiderade floats through the cockpit, and you see it like go across. And the minute it gets to the far side, it just crushes down to like something the size of a marble and hurtles into the floor. And you hear it rip through the deck plating.
Oh God!
Goodness, do you have any more? I pull out my nut bar, chuck it over.
You see your nut
At this
bar
point,
become a compressed nut planet.
a single nut.
Are they like compressing it on themselves or just getting really flat?
Those objects did compress in on themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg comes floating back into the room and sees the corner. Oh my! And hits a button on the iPad and opens the GravNav app and adjusts a slider.
It's a repurposed thermostat app for a smart thermostat.
And he adjusts the slider, a few sliders, so the corner of the room stops crushing itself.
Yes.
And then Uriel and Uriel, Yuri Amriel. That's your celebrity.
A
company.
love child.
Yeah. Yuri and Amriel slowly lower to the floor and settle into normal gravity.
Yes. Now you did establish last run that the ship doesn't have artificial gravity. So the fact that you've hit the deck tells you that you're still in Earth's vicinity.
Yeah.
Because once you get into space, you will. Well, I mean, as long as you're under acceleration, you'll have perceived gravity. That's the way the ships in the Expanse work.
Yeah, I never really got how that worked. They also have like magnetic boots. It's complicated.
I will explain when we're done how that works and why it makes sense. But you basically have to build all your spaceships as if they are skyscrapers.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
it makes
they-
sense. It's just like
Yeah.
acceleration gives you force, which can equate to gravity.
Gotcha. All right.
And so they are always constantly accelerating, which is also why they can get to places so much faster, because they just fucking waste fuel.
Apparently,
anyway.
it's really light.
It's a thing. Yep.
Yeah, anyway, yes, you settle back down as Greg turns the temperature on the engine to 60 degrees.
That's your average cruising temperature.
Yeah, that's your average cruising gravity temperature that you need because this app is a thermostat. And then you hear a message coming from the ground station. Come in, Fart's Revenge.
This is Fart's Revenge.
Yeah, you guys are hovering about a kilometer off the ground.
Oh, we had a slight problem with one of the engines. It was leaking excess gravity, but I fixed it, and we are on our way.
Okay. Leaking excess gravity? You hear scribbling on paper. All right. Well, it looks like you're not getting much more upward lift. You may need to make use of the thrusters.
Ah, very well. Lady, gentlemen? Oh, you
Or
might want
alternatively, it could be something else. I mean, whatever.
Well, I figure we kind of stopped, so I could
Yeah, indeed.
fix the engine. So I'm just going to keep going. See if that works.
You do gain more altitude, but it does seem to be reaching an upper limit.
All right. Well, time to
Pass the gas.
thrusters. You might want to lie down.
I knew this was going to be terrible.
You could always go sit in the mess.
Are there any seats on board with straps? Do we think to put those in, Greg?
Oh,
He included oxygen. What more do you want?
you were very insistent about breathing. You didn't say anything about seats with straps.
That's a good point. We didn't ask for them.
It's true, that one's on
I
us.
made sure there was an oxygen cleaning and reclamation system. You'll have plenty of air to breathe, but unfortunately you'll have to stand.
I mean, Greg could build you a flight couch
I lie down
later, but not right now.
Yeah.
with my hands across my chest with the super suit lying beside me in the same position.
Oh, no, don't put your hands on your chest. You might crush your ribcage.
I move the super suit's hands.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Greg hits no buttons, and then there's the as the burners kick in.
Yeah, the burners kick in.
It sounds like a fart.
It's as much a whooshing engine sound as it is also a really shitty, like, hand-started car. Like one of those ones you crank as the engine goes.
Just give it it'll do it. Just give it a second.
Greg just keeps turning it over, and then there's a loud kind of kabooming whoosh sound as you feel the spaceship stop stuttering upwards and start roaring upwards. And Emriel feels her back crushing her wings against steel. And after 10 agonizingly long minutes, you stop accelerating.
There we are.
I think exiting the Earth's atmosphere takes about 10 minutes of constant thrust.
That sounds
about
fair.
right. Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
It's
I'm not gonna say it.
It's like a 7-minute dead zone or something when you go through the troposphere. So anyway, the point is, it takes about 10 minutes as you reach into space. It doesn't feel as aggressive an acceleration anymore, and Greg, you can see that that your app has shut off the engines as you had exceeded your allotment of fuel. You have 20% of your fuel left. Which is basically enough for an emergency thruster stop.
Yeah.
But you're not accelerating anymore. You are at speed, but you're not gaining more. Which means you will start to experience weightlessness.
Yep. We are going to be floating for a while.
This is the second time my Eclipse Phase prep has crossed over into this Base Raiders campaign.
I gotta hand it to you there, Greg. For the first time in almost 4,000 years, I felt compelled to pray there for a bit.
Oh.
Who did you pray to?
I wasn't sure.
Whatever was listening.
Right. Anybody who can hear me, please don't let it die.
God kicked me out, so I thought I'd try Bahamut. Alright, yeah, you guys are floating in this command capsule.
If you would like, there is an observation deck right above this one that should have a lovely view. There's like a little glass dome at the very top of the ship, and there's a room. I
mean, it looks.
There's a whole bunch of soft couches and chairs up there.
It looks like glass, but of course it's repurposed sheets of quartz.
Yeah.
And sapphire and whatnot. Probably just fucking diamond.
Yeah.
Because it's Greg.
Or clear aluminum from Star Trek.
Clear aluminum. Transparent steel.
Invisitanium.
Unobtrusitanium is also an option.
This is the rest of the game.
Yeah, just thinking up weird see-through materials. So you guys floated to the observation deck, and you see stretching out before you the stars. It's it kind of feels like you're almost being pulled or falling into it as you look up into the sky. Well, you look up into space. You just see stars. They seem brighter than any you've seen before because you don't have the atmosphere in your way. You see more stars than you've seen before. Yeah.
Greg points, uses his hollow projector to make like a little pointer arrow, and points at one of the stars. That's where I'm from.
Is there a specific constellation or something that Greg's star appears to be in from Earth perspective? Is he from Vega?
No. Just a star.
It's just a big old star. Is it a star that can't normally be seen on Earth?
You could see it. It's just a normal. Let me see. No, it is part of a constellation. It's part of. I'm looking at the constellations. I want to find a good one.
I also just opened up the constellations. It's not as straightforward a list as you'd think.
No.
Former constellations. Show me that Indian astronomy.
Oh, these are just the Greek god ones.
Yeah, they'll have the zodiac constellations, they're like grouped by families and shit. So like you have the zodiac, Perseus, Hercules, Orion, Ursa, Major. Heavenly Waters is also a set of star systems. The Bayer family. The Bayer family? What is that? Is that like the hillbilly constellations?
There's 88. I think this one. He's from Antlia.
Antlia.
In English, it means the air pump.
Of course, Greg's star is in the Antlia system, because apparently the universe has a sense of humor.
You lived in the universe?
You know what? I'm gonna make this star system look like, from the perspective of those on Earth, a fucking air pump. So that when one fart alien from one star in that system goes to Earth, they will have a narratively interesting name to refer to.
I don't know why this is an air pump. It's just 2 lines.
And you know what, Raymond? That's why we rebelled against God.
God and his convenient narratives.
Oh, actually, wait. I might have to change it because I was looking at the map, and right next to that one is Vela, the sails, and it's just a circle. It looks like a cloud. It's just like a circle.
It's like when your family of werewolf hunters is called Argent, sorry. It's like, really?
So, yeah, he's from a star within the Vela the constellation Vela.
Brilliant. Yeah, so you guys spend a few minutes looking at the stars. Floating up here near these couches. If only Greg had made them out of, like, Velcro material, you could actually sit in them.
Greg points to a different star nearby. That one's exploded.
Wow. Yuri sits down.
Or attempts to.
Yeah, pulls himself into a chair.
Yeah, pulls
a chair up to him.
Yeah.
So, Greg, do we have any, like, ropes on board we could lash ourselves to the furniture with? Because...
I think there might be some bindings in the cargo bay. If you'd like, I could change the surface of the furniture here. Maybe give it straps that you can hold yourself down with.
Sure, let's start with that.
How about you make the furniture one side of Velcro and the butt of my pants, the other side of Velcro?
Sure. So
Make it happen.
Greg goes to a chair and makes the surface half Velcro, and then goes to Yuri's butt and makes his pants half Velcro.
Now, it occurred to me, did anybody actually... This is going to be like the scuba shit. Did anybody actually make sure you guys had spacesuits?
No. Do we
Well,
not have spacesuits?
So, it's a good thing that this is a test run.
Well, I know what Greg's making for the next 3 days.
Yeah, so Greg...
Didn't you acquire some or something, Greg? Didn't you make some? Did that happen? I feel like I remember some discussion about spacesuits.
I made air.
No, true.
Look, I don't have a problem with you guys saying we have spacesuits now, but it's basically like you get up onto here and you're like, damn it, we forgot fucking spacesuits. Just like you forgot to pack chairs that can buckle you down. And
Hey, we were working under a tight deadline. We got a spaceship that has not yet exploded and is getting us to the moon. These ungrateful assholes had a whole month to get spacesuits while I was making a spaceship.
Hey, I was too busy inciting insurrection.
Yeah.
If you guys are so worried about breathing, maybe you should be a little proactive.
Yeah. Just take that.
Yeah.
Greg, how long is it going to take you guys to get to the moon?
How long is it going to take me to make spacesuits?
I feel like that's a pretty involved project, so at least a day.
Did TKS not bring any?
TKS might have packed you guys spacesuits.
I mean, there are a whole bunch of boxes in the cargo bay that I have not looked at.
Go check your cargo bay. There might
feel
be...
like maybe we have some spacesuits that we can alter to suit wings.
Yeah, I mean, go have a look.
Float down to the cargo bay and start looking through our cargo as carefully as I possibly can.
Does anybody else go with Emriel?
Yeah, I'd like to see what they put in my spaceship.
Okay, so what are you guys talking about as you spend like a few hours going through this room in 0G and becoming accustomed to 0G? This will be an opportunity for you guys to talk to one another and do a bit of role playing. But as you enter this, enter into this cargo hold of sorts, it's one of the rings of the because the decks of the ship are laid out like discs. So it's sort of broken up into sixths. So there's like 6 rooms that you enter in off of this sort of outer rim catwalk. So it's like a 6 slice pizza. Or a clock from Blades.
Yeah.
So a few of them are fuller than others, but they're all stacked with like TKS and that impronounceable outdoor clothing line named after that Icelandic volcano. Even though we could have picked the one that had a pronounceable in English name, you guys wanted the unpronounceable one that I have tried to learn to pronounce several times and failed. Yes,
I stand by it.
There's a few packages from them and things like that. They tend to be, it's a lot of like surveying equipment and just random tools and shit like that. But what are you guys having a chat about?
So, what do you think?
Of
A spaceship.
oh yeah, it's nice.
Good.
Could do with chairs.
One complaint.
I'll make a note.
I mean, although if it's gonna just be a spaceship for you and your Gestalt, then it probably doesn't need chairs.
Well, I suppose, like now, there could be guests.
I guess.
I guess you could also make the Gestalt a holographic body, like the one you have. So,
Big one.
what your entire species would do with one holographic body.
How big, Greg? How big is the Gestalt? I mean, like I assume it's a non-fixed thing, similar to how you're sort of amorphous cloud. But like, if you're a little cloud, is it a big cloud?
Greg does have a mostly set mass, though.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like wave and undulate, but it's
yeah. You have a set mass.
Well, no, I meant that your mass doesn't change. Whether your shape does and the spacing between your molecules totally changes, but like your actual mass is more or less constant.
Yeah,
because you don't add a lot of new components to yourself frequently. What's the matter, dog?
I haven't been able to. I think in English measurements, it would be about 200 million pounds.
And in non-English measurements, for those of us, because none of us are English, Greg.
200 million.
In hellapascals.
Kilos. Or kilotons.
Why the hell would Greg measure in imperial when it's not even the dominant weight size of the planet? Like, and you guys are from Japan as well. Like, it's not like you landed in America and have a reason to measure in
I feel like hell uses imperial.
Yeah, hell probably does use imperial.
That's 90 kilotons.
90 See, doesn't that sound way cooler? Kilotons?
Yeah.
Doesn't
so
that
90,000 tons?
Does that just fill you with dread saying that number?
Yeah, you've been a big hologram. Hey, Greg. Right? I don't know, actually. Does Greg like hide within his hologram when he's emitting it?
He can.
Or does the hologram just have a cloud around it?
He can hide within it.
Yeah. But it doesn't give me. It's not like any protection. It's just.
Yeah, it's just so that you don't have a fog.
Yeah.
I was just kind of picturing the gigantic cloud using the holographic body as like a finger puppet.
I believe the way we described it last time, when he first made a customized avatar, was that it kind of looked like David Bowie with little wisps of air seeping out of their skin, almost like an air elemental.
Yeah.
That's
Wait, so you guys
creepier
use
than I thought.
kilograms as your weight, right? Yeah, okay. So
It's enormous.
it's in
Tons.
kilograms.
Tons is fine.
90,718,000 kilograms.
Oh, that was actually pretty good role playing there from Alex, because that sounded like he was actually calculating the number rather than just pulling a number out of his hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like, it's a big cloud.
Yes.
That sounds like I can't really picture the volume of a cloud that mass. But like, is the Gestalt like the whole planet? Like, is the Gestalt like Jupiter?
No. It's there are a few different clouds that roam the planet. And
Remember, because there's
of
the
those
Hunter
species.
Storms.
Yes. Well, there are other gestalts of these as well.
Did you just say that there are other sentient Gestalt organisms on your planet?
Yeah. There are 14 clouds of Greg species.
Right, and
then-
your one is 90 kilotons.
Because this has not been established before.
It hasn't.
So I still imagining. Is it a gaseous planet?
No, there's a ground. It's much like your Venus, slightly more temperate though. It does not snow metal. But
I feel like Greg's world is as much a gaseous planet as ours is a cellular planet. Like, our Earth is covered in a lot of cells, but like, that doesn't look weird.
Yeah.
So like, I imagine most of the organisms on his planet are gas-based. Considering,
And like from orbit, it probably looks like a 100% cloud cover kind of thing.
yeah,
I think kind of. I think there's also some solid.
Yeah, there'd be desert
Okay.
patches where there aren't gas cells.
Yes.
Well, I just looked up the average weight of a cumulus cloud is 1.1 million pounds.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like
So it looks
one
like
of them
there's
is
a
like
bunch of.
200
It just looks like it's got a lot of weather.
yeah.
Okay,
It's a
so it's just
barren
like a big storm system essentially kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, there are hunter storms. Yeah, there's a
few
bunch
of
of
them.
those. Our
Yes.
clouds are. They just
But
look
like the size of
clouds.
like a big
I'm
cloud.
picturing Mars, but with more like visible Mars with our cloud systems laid on
Yeah.
top of it.
Maybe 200 million was a little big. Maybe each one's like 50 million. So they're like really big clouds.
Yeah.
But they're on ground level.
Yeah.
So not quite Venus.
Yes. So big holograms.
No. I don't think that the Gestalts would know what to do with holograms. As I said, my race doesn't.
Reabsorbed.
Yeah, Greg's not sure he's going to do that either. As I said, my race doesn't have creativity, so to speak.
Sure, you do.
Oh no, we don't.
Maybe you should practice. It's something everyone can learn.
No. There was no individuality
Not with
amongst
that
the
attitude,
Gestalts.
Greg.
Well, thank you. I have creativity,
Mhm.
but the Gestalt clouds do not.
I don't know.
It is
Sometimes I feel like you
a
don't give
process.
the Gestalt enough credit for, given that it was what created you. You know.
Oh no, I very much appreciate the Gestalt for what it is, but sometimes what it would do is if it needed something, if it recognized a need, for example, it had to traverse a difficult terrain, it would spawn off a few smaller clouds, give them individuality, and have them come up with the method for traversing the terrain. Then they would rejoin, and their ideas would be absorbed. I hadn't thought there was any problem with that because for a long time I didn't exist. But having spent many years separated from the Gestalts, I think that's akin to murder in a way.
Oh, sorry, you lost me at traverse terrain.
Never mind.
Emriel, let's talk about your daddy issues.
You have 4,000 years?
I don't know, Greg, how long does it take you to make a spacesuit?
Oh, we should be at the moon in 2 days.
Well, let's have the abridged version.
All right. Well, once upon a time, there were perfect beings of luminous goodness who were created in the image of their maker, but not given free will. And
I'm seeing a lot of similarities, actually. Go on.
once some of them got to thinking about it, they kind of grew their own version of free will, except it wasn't a perfect version, but it was what they had, and they did what any logical creatures would do in such a circumstance. They rebelled, and it turned out there was a lot more power invested on the other side of the issue, and we were kicked the hell out. And, sent to a realm of eternal torment for our desire to think for ourselves.
Yeah, Greg, I hope your teenage rebellion phase goes a lot better.
Oh, I spent my teenage years screaming in insanity across the dark void of space.
Yeah, we all
Again, sounds similar. We've all been there. I know that feeling, Greg. Know that feeling.
It's very true.
I think, meanwhile we're doing this, we're all just like rifling through crates.
Ooh, I found freeze-dried meatloaf.
Nice. I found ketchup.
Emriel found Pop-Tarts.
Hey! We've got a sleeper over on our hands.
Sleeper.
Pop-Tarts.
Yes, s'mores Pop-Tarts for the in-joke crowd. Go listen to all the other podcasts that we listen to get that joke.
All of them.
After some time, you guys find spacesuits. They are human-shaped and therefore will not fit Emriel. But you've got like a pack of 10. They are very bare bones, kind of slim. They have a very plastic-like outer layer to them. They don't look like they would be very good at protecting against like micrometeor impacts or anything like that, but in a pinch, they will keep you from dying in the vacuum of space. But they have like a silicone-y kind of plastic outer layer and a cloth inner layer.
Instead of making new spacesuits, can I modify those spacesuits?
Totally.
Because I can add 2 tags to a thing if I spend a fate point.
Go for it. Spend a fate point.
I'm going to do that.
You don't need to give it a
Those
tag.
2 tags can be wing holes.
Well,
and,
I was going to say you don't need to
super
give it.
suit.
You don't need to give it tags so that it fits Emriel, for example. I'd allow you to do that just through the act of tailoring.
Okay. So why don't we give you a
Because
spacesuit?
Emriel's wings if Amriel's wings work through magic, they'll work whether they're covered or not. And if they work like normal wings, they won't work in space anyway.
Yeah.
But it's okay for them to be in vacuum?
Well, my point is if they're in like inside the suit.
Right.
If there's wing-shaped spacesuit,
Oh,
they'll
right,
either
You just let them
flap
fold
and
up.
work.
Yeah. Either they'll work because they're magical and and she actually just has levitation and the wings are there to look cool, or if the wings are actually truly functional and work through lift and whatnot, they won't work through in space anyway. So either way, you might as well seal them in.
Yes. The point I was making was, yes, are we sealing them in or are they just sticking out?
No, I think we should
Just going to have a big old backpack.
All right, so I'm thinking tags armored, and maneuvering thrusters.
That could be handy.
What do you guys
very
think?
handy.
For those of us without
I'm
levitation.
all aboard.
And Greg's tube is sealed. So you
Yes,
can actually, I guess Greg would just be able to float through space.
Do you have a tag that says? Because you know what happens to clouds of gas in space.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel like the pressure
But he's
thing
not
being a
actually a
problem.
gas. He's nanobots.
Yeah, but you also respond to like outside
You're
pressure.
organic nanobots.
Yeah, that's
You are
Yeah,
organic
no, all right, so Greg's
molecules
got his-
that work similar to nanobots, but you are organic molecules.
I could just get in a spacesuit with one of you guys.
That
You
sounds
could just
comfy.
get in one of the other spacesuits. Like you've got 10 of them. Well, you've
got a
probably got
hologram.
like 8 now.
Yeah.
That's true. I could be a ghost spacesuit.
Well, the
Just fill it
hologram is hard light, so
No, I know,
it
but I'm
should
saying
work.
I could-
Well, it should work
I
as a spacesuit, but you'd have to make some programming changes to make sure that none of you wisped out, like has been happening.
No, but
on
I mean
the surface.
the hologram would work to get inside a spacesuit. And provide,
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, that
armor
too.
show.
Sorry, I mean you could just
Yeah.
Greg could be poured into the spacesuit either way.
I
Yeah.
just feel like Greg as a
Um,
gas manipulating fingers is less dexterous.
Yeah, but basically that would have been another way.
Just be
to
a big airbag.
That actually would have been another way for Greg to gain physical form. Would to just like in Hellboy 2, you pour the character
Put on
into a
suits.
spacesuit.
Yeah, I like the image
Yeah.
of just like a big kind of like saggy spacesuit balloon
Yeah.
flopping around.
I like the image of using the gas to manipulate the arms and legs, but not filling out the helmet.
Mhm.
So it's just an empty ghost spacesuit.
Yep.
Yeah, so Greg will do that. He'll pour himself into. So Greg, while he makes theirs, he basically puts the gloves and boots onto one of the suits, so he can just fill in, and then someone puts a helmet on him to lock it in.
Brilliant.
And yeah, if you can essentially, I don't know, put a little bit more into the waistline of one of them, so I can be a
Great.
suit within a suit.
In which case, you guys have 7.5
suit.
spacesuits left when you're done tailoring.
Yuri,
That's
once Yuri's inside of it, he's like 3 layers deep of suit.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm a ghost wearing a flesh body, wearing a super suit, wearing a.
Wearing a
Spacesuit.
spacesuit. It's pretty.
Well, hey, the more layers between you and the vacuum of space, the better.
It's pretty
I also
Avengers.
give them all
We'll
Ghost
just take it as a metaphor for the layers, the walls that Yuri puts up between everyone else at his heart.
Always walls with you people.
Ghost samurais
Greg also-
have layers.
Greg also makes sure to give each spacesuit a racing stripe.
Okay. What colors are these
Just-
suits when you're done?
Whatever color they were, with a racing
Different.
stripe.
Each of us is a different color.
Okay.
A primary color?
Amriel's red. Yuri is yellow. Greg is blue.
Yeah. And each one of them has a black racing stripe that goes up the right leg and across the chest up to the shoulder.
Fantastic. So after, a day of tailoring and inventorying inventorizing. After stock take on this spaceship, you guys arrive at the moon. You actually made pretty good time. Took you like a day to get here.
Not bad.
Oxygen's holding. Liquid nitrogen levels are good-ish. You might need to make a few more tanks of that. Probably want to increase the amount of fuel you have too. But you get here.
We'll have to scoop up a bunch of moon rocks so I can use that for.
Yeah, you could just fill the fucking hole, all the empty spaces with moon rocks. And you drift over the location that you had on the moon of that ideal base. And it just kind of looks like a tin can hab, a bunch of almost lunar lander looking pieces, a bit larger, scattered around the regolith, connected by flimsy looking plastic cloth foil tubes that allow for very simple movement between the two.
So my understanding was that Raiderade was going to teleport us here, and then all the teams here, and then from here we were going to have to go to wherever the base is. That this is not the actual base.
That could or could not be what's happening. You have no confirmation whether this is the actual point you're teleporting to.
Didn't they say there was something involving teleporting?
Yeah, they said that this thing had a teleporter in it. And they told you you'd be teleporting to the moon, but that doesn't necessarily mean these two things are connected.
Right.
This teleportation doesn't use the same kind of teleportation that Raiderade uses, the repurposed ideal teleporter, which is basically effectively Stargate technology, where it is point to point, and the two teleporters are kind of tethered to one another. So no matter where that teleporter is moved to, if you use that ID tag to teleport to it, you'll always teleport to it. Almost like a Pandora gate in that regards too, from Eclipse Phase. Whereas the teleporter that this shitty tin can hab was using was actually required new math to be done every time people were teleporting to it. It was calculations, and it wasn't point to point. It was, we can teleport you to anywhere using this thing. Which is incredibly time consuming because you have to do calculations to make sure that you don't put them inside materials,
right,
and things like that. Make sure you send atmosphere with them and stuff. All sorts of all the horrible parts of teleporting. Make sure that you teleport them to where the planet will be, rather than where the planet is or was when you did your math. Make sure you account for the movement of the universe and all of the components within it.
Cool. There's also a wrecked alien warfleet.
Mm-hmm. You are sure that that'll probably will factor in somehow.
What do you guys think? Should we check out this base or the wrecked alien warfleet?
Wrecked alien warfleet?
Yeah, that sounds like something they'd send us to.
Yeah, let's go there.
All right.
Because I think we established that it wasn't the ideal base, wasn't it?
It wasn't. Well, because this base isn't really an ideal base. It's actually a NASA ideal cooperative.
Right.
Right.
But did we establish that that wasn't the one we're raiding?
You definitely established that's not the one you're raiding because you're looking at it and it's so out of date and it's just falling apart. Like, you can't imagine that this would be the super interesting thing that you're attacking, especially for the climax of this thing. Like, it's 6 or 7 little lunar lander, little almost hexagon container ships, cargo containers, connected by shitty foil ducting. Like, How are we going to get into the base? We cut in through the sides because we're all wearing spacesuits and then walk in.
And this is tinfoil.
This is tinfoil. He's in a Model T. He's in a Ford T. We're in a DeLorean. He'll rip through us like with tinfoil.
Yeah, so I'm going to pilot us over to the fleet.
You don't actually know where the fleet is. You just know that there is one, and you know it because of a vision Emriel was given, basically. Well, not even Emriel was given.
We just got the one moon, so
yeah, indeed.
I'll just go left.
You've got time to spare.
We've got a starting point. This ideal base is our starting point. We'll just go one way until we find the fleet or get back here, in which case we'll try something else.
Yeah, so you head towards the far side of the moon, which I actually have a photo of, because Apollo 16 photographed it, which I didn't know. I don't want to save it to my computer. That's not going to be useful to the players.
I think I have some too. My uncle gave me some pictures from NASA that were like Apollo moon picture press release photos.
Okay,
but they're like
if you're at home, you can find the image that I'm sending by just going to farsideofthemoon.wikipedia.com. Well, actually, it would be wikipedia.org/wiki/farsideofthemoon #/media/file backside of the moon string of numbers JPEG. But I trust you guys to find a picture of the far side of the moon. I have faith in you. Listeners.
All those craters, that's the moon taking one for the Earth.
Yep.
Or like 100.
What a team player.
What a good friend the moon is. And
the
what
moon
do we
is
do?
an integral part of Team Earth.
Yep. Unlike all those other parts of the solar system.
Yeah. Fucking Venus.
What has Venus ever done for Earth?
Make it look good.
Yeah, made it look good by comparison.
Yeah.
All the other planets in the solar system are just so that Earth looks good when Earth goes to the club.
Venus and Mars are the ugly planets you stand next to, so you look better.
Yep, so that you look hot, despite the infestation of
not too
higher
hot
primates you may have. Look, you don't need to tell them about that on the first. You don't need to tell them about that on the first date.
I want to get all up in your life-supporting oceans.
Who doesn't? Yes, so this side of the moon always faces away from Earth.
Yep.
The reason it's not called the dark side of the moon is because it does occasionally get sunlight. It's like 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks of sunlight followed 2 weeks of night.
Just like the near side, really.
Yeah, but it does always face away from the Earth, so we can't see it from Earth.
Yep.
So, you guys are flying across it, and it's, kind of beautiful in a endless, empty sea kind of way. And you... How much time do you devote to searching this moon?
I would say as much time as it's going to take, because, we've got
nothing better to do.
Before we had a week. We left a week and a half, so we have like 10 days before the race actually starts.
Unfortunately, I don't know what the relative size of the moon is to some kind of object on Earth, so I can't say, oh, it's like it's like trying to search all of the United States. I feel like it'd be more than trying to search the entire surface of the United States.
Probably.
Oh, there we go. There's actually an image on a GIF on this page. It would actually be kind of like trying to search all of Antarctica from the air. Is the impression I'm getting. Maybe it's a lot of landmass to search, is the point.
All right. Well, I figured out what the third aspect on our spaceship is.
Oh, yeah?
Super science sensors.
Super science sensors. All right, cool. So what do those look like? And do they have to be deployed? Do they, like, telescope out of the ship?
No, they're just on the hull. They're,
Okay, I
they're
thought
Star
that-
Trek sensors.
I thought the ship might have, like, battle mode and science mode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of like that. All right. So I switch it to science mode, and just like a whole bunch of radar dishes come out and start spinning around.
Antennae, little orbs, radar
Yeah.
dishes,
A whole bunch of
cameras.
sciencey stuff.
A machine that goes ding when stuff is near.
Yep. And also can cook an egg at 100 yards.
And it can also cook an egg at 100 yards. All right. So after a few days of searching, who is anybody monitoring Earthican communications?
I think probably Amriel would be, frustratedly watching whatever TV she could get.
Yeah, so you only really get good reception when you're near the edges, and even then, I say good. Digital TV doesn't spend a lot of time trying to beam into deep space.
Yeah,
Kind of a waste.
a little bit.
But you do occasionally get little glimpses of stuff from home, and you have just enough time to check your email. But it would appear that people are wondering when you guys are gonna be back. Like, you get an email being like, "So it's been like 3 days. Are you guys alive? We keep losing radio contact with you. We didn't build a fucking space array. Parks isn't letting us in, weirdly enough."
I will respond to the emails. We're alive. We're searching the moon for this potential base that we're gonna have to raid.
Mm-hmm. You get an email notification saying that it's time to prepare for the Raiderade race. They need you guys to report to a way station in Cuba at least 24 hours before the race is scheduled to start, in order to prep you and your vehicles for teleportation. What do you guys say in response?
Do we need to teleport? We're already on the moon.
I wonder if we could. No, you said this is the other type of teleporter where you don't just get a tag. You have to do the complex math every time you teleport.
No. That is
Okay.
the kind of teleporter that Raiderade uses, because they have repurposed it from the ideal.
Right.
The kind that is a teleportation pad that sends you to another teleportation pad and can't send you anywhere else except other teleportation pads. The kind that rando base used was the kind where you have to do complex math every time you want to send someone somewhere, but you can send them anywhere, technically, if you can do the math.
Gotcha.
Can they just give us the coordinates for the teleportation pad and we'll meet them there?
Well, we were hoping to use the act of teleportation as a disorientating effect. So it would kind of give you an unfair advantage on the other teams.
We can just spin around and around in circles for a bit.
Well, maybe the other team should have taken time to build a spaceship.
We could have Greg fuck with the gravity and
We were
maybe
going
all
to the
get
moon.
crushed to death.
Yeah, they've known for months that we're going to the moon. It's not our fault for being prepared. You should have mentioned that was a factor before we built a spaceship.
We will get back to you.
Cool.
But you guys do find, after some searching, towards the southern part of the moon, actually no, towards the eastern part of the backside of the moon, you guys find a large, almost sea of debris, filled with spaceships. There has to have been at least 40 of these things, and they're the size of small towns.
Damn.
Whoa.
Which, to put into perspective, like the largest boats are only 2 kilometers long.
They're like Independence Day ships.
And I'd say Independence Day ships are, well, actually, I guess, say that Independence Day ships are the size of small cities. These are small towns. It's
Okay,
still
yeah.
impressive. And they are kind of pine cone / arrowhead shaped. So, yeah.
Ooh, I might be able to upgrade.
However, very few of them look intact. You see ones like snapped in half. You see at least 40 distinct hulls, but there's probably a bunch of these. Bunch of the debris here is probably other ships. And then kind of sitting towards the middle is this mostly intact one that looks like it's been strafed with like a burning laser beam multiple times, just sort of raked by like Superman's laser vision, but not enough to crack it open. It is larger than the others, and it is lying half buried in the regolith, and you can see huge, massive engines on the back of it, the size of nuclear power station cooling towers.
I think we found our mothership.
And then you guys get an alert on the iPad. It says that your anti-gravity is being disrupted.
Oh. I'm going to back away or pilot the ship away from, so we're out of that area.
Mm-hmm. So you're trying to pull the ship back, and it's still telling you that your anti-grav is being disrupted. This goes on for a few minutes, and then it stops, but all the power goes off on the ship for about 10 seconds. The lights all turn off, everything just shuts off, and you're just left with the silence of engines spinning down. And then everything jumps back alive. Where are you?
What do you mean?
Inside the ship, where is everybody?
Oh, I'm in the cockpit.
I think Amriel is probably upstairs, strapped into one of those couches.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say Yuri is in the just heading out from the garage.
Mm-hmm. So Yuri, you're heading out from the garage when the power shuts off, floating down this corridor, and then it comes back on. What do you guys do?
Intercom, Greg, everything good?
Everything is now.
What was that?
Was everything good?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. Can I try to figure that out?
Sure. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm going to make an alien super scientist roll.
Okay. I have given you all of the facts you have.
All right,
You need to interpret them. There's no more facts to gather from your systems.
So the gravity, it said the anti-grav was being interfered with.
Yes.
Then the power went out, and then
Almost like
it came back like a brownout, and then it came back on 10 seconds later, and everything's working.
Everything seems fine. There's no interference or anything.
And we're able to move the ship.
Yeah, the ship's working fine.
I think it might have been some sort of dormant alien scan or defensive system.
Huh.
But can I pilot it forward? Does that happen again if I go back towards the mothership?
Yeah, you head back down towards the surface and nothing happens.
Maybe it was some kind of signal? I don't know.
You didn't receive any transmissions.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, maybe that was the only thing they could do was interfere with our anti-grav, and that was the signal. I don't know.
Wouldn't that mean they would be trying to broadcast using gravitons?
It would, I suppose. Can I look at the interference to see if there was some sort of graviton broadcast?
I mean, there were graviton spikes, but it doesn't have any pattern to it. It couldn't be a signal.
Okay.
You've never heard of anyone trying to use gravity as a medium for communication before either. And this has been going for a few minutes. What has Emriel and Yuri been doing?
I'm making my way back up to the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so Emriel's heading down to the bridge, and as Yuri climbs up onto the next level, you're on the cargo bay ring. You hear one of the doors to the cargo bay open, and then you see somebody in a spacesuit step out. It's it's actually a grey spacesuit. It's a bit more heavy duty than the ones that you guys had. Closer to what you have now with the armor added to it. They have like a pistol or something strapped at their side, and there's a lot of tactical pouches all over their spacesuit. And they turn towards you with a gold visor obscuring their face. And there's just this astronaut out of nowhere staring at you.
I think I figured out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Greg says over the radio that we have, the readings almost look like it was some sort of teleportation signal.
That is exactly what it looks like, Greg.
Yeah, that's weird.
Something teleport. Where did?
To the ship,
Oh.
or at least in the vicinity of the ship.
To within 15 meters of the ship.
So it's just me? Is it just me looking at this?
Yeah, you're the only person that can see it, because as far as I know, there aren't security cameras on this thing. That hasn't been established.
No, I do not believe there are.
And there definitely weren't any to begin with.
Nope.
I comment and I'm like, yeah, I'd say that's probably it, by the looks of it.
The guy in
By
the
the looks of
space...
You need another chair, Greg.
The guy in the spacesuit, or the person in the spacesuit, takes a few heavy steps towards you, Yuri, and then their hands sort of come up and touch their helmet. You see them twist it one way and then back the other, and it makes a click, and then they lift it off. and you see one of the Raiderade marketing team managers, a woman.
For fuck's sake. It's fine, guys. It's just the suits.
Oh, someone's here.
Forget about that chair, Greg.
So they don't want me to make their butt Velcro?
Hello, Yuri. I don't know if we've had the opportunity to meet since your signing. I'm Sarah Claiborne.
All right.
I'm part of
Greg
the.
starts to make his way down to the cargo bay.
Brilliant. I'm part of the Raiderade Race to the Base Adventure Race International Series marketing team, as well as
I guess that by the stick up your butt look.
as well as having dual purpose on our legal team.
Doubly so.
Just came here to let you guys know that we would that you will be disqualified if you attempt to land in the Starship Graveyard, as that is in fact the site of the final race of the series.
Cool. You couldn't have called to tell us this?
Well, you see, you're actually in a communications black spot. What with being on the far side of the moon, there's kind of an entire planetary body between us. Not a lot of telecommunication satellites on this side either.
I can see how teleporting would have been easier for you, yeah.
It was, in fact, quite difficult. And as the newest member of the team, I was chosen to go. With all 15 meters of accuracy on the teleporter.
Well, at least this spaceship's bigger than 15 meters, you know.
At least I didn't end up in a wall or a crate.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Greg,
Hello,
this is Sarah
Greg into the room.
Claiborne.
Yes, I'm Sarah Claiborne.
Did you offer her some dehydrated meatloaf?
No, I don't think she'll be staying for long. She's told us what she needs to. You heading off now, Sarah?
Oh, she could have called. I was about to launch a communication satellite.
I know.
Can she head off?
We just had this conversation, Greg. Okay, Sarah, do you want anything before you leave?
Well,
And Yuri starts like walking towards towards an airlock.
Unfortunately, I can't leave the ship. You'll have to drop me off on Earth when you return.
That's funny. Greg, were you planning on returning to Earth?
Well,
Because
eventually.
I got the impression from the takeoff that this was a one-way trip based on the fuel reserves.
Oh, well, I mean, I expected that you and Amria wished to return to Earth. I figured that
Yeah, I just figured
we would
you weren't
return
dropping it
after
off.
the race. Well, once the race is completed.
Yeah.
It's just we did reach a decision about you. You wished to not teleport to the location, and we have reached a decision on that.
Okay, cool. Greg, make another chair. I start leading her towards the observation deck / rec room.
There's already one up there. Would you like me to make your butt Velcro?
She doesn't answer. She just
Cut
rolls
to us
right.
like floating in chairs.
Yeah,
No.
indeed.
Looking
Yeah,
moderately
Amriel and
uncomfortable.
Yuri are sitting in chairs. She's just floating.
Yeah.
Screen wipe to new scene. And as she has informed you that in order to avoid teleportation, you still have to meet in Cuba 24 hours beforehand. However, they have calculated this flight time of your ship based on the numbers gathered, and you will be allowed to take off 10 hours before the race is scheduled to start, which should account for any lead you would be given by not having to teleport.
Why are you penalizing us for preparing for the race?
Because your starting position would
Can't
be...
the race just start from where they're going to teleport to on the moon?
I suppose that could be a solution. However, we would have to avoid giving you that location until, I suppose, an hour beforehand so that you couldn't booby trap the starting location.
Right. You could just make a
How-
rule we can't booby trap the starting location.
What if we
Well,
move
you can't
to...
kill other teams either, but that rule has also been violated in the past.
Mm-hmm.
What if we
So-
move to a position where you can monitor us until the start of the race? I will move the ship directly to the north pole of the moon, which should be in view from Earth, both telescopically and within radio communication range. And we will stay there until the race commences.
That sounds fair.
Good.
And we'll know when they teleport, and then we will make our way to the base.
Brilliant. All right.
And if we need a bit of delay for them to get orientated after their teleportation confusion, we can take that delay.
Well, I don't think we need to take a delay. I mean, it has been
I don't know how long teleportation
well
sickness
known
lasts.
for the entirety of this contest that the last race would be on the moon.
True.
Any of the other teams could have taken time to try to procure their own transportation here.
We should just give them all a lift and this wouldn't be a problem.
Well, I only have the 2 chairs.
Also, the garage bay is not large enough to fit in all the vehicles.
Yeah.
But you adjourn to the North Pole.
Or south, whichever. I'll let them pick.
You've got
Whichever.
maybe 3 days, 4 days until the start of the race. Are you gonna have this woman stay here that whole time? Are you
Well,
gonna
we're not
stay
going to
up
kick
here?
her out of an airlock.
Are you gonna return to Earth and make some modifications?
Well, there's a teleporter in that ideal base, right? She can go home if she wanted to.
There should, in theory, be a teleporter in that ideal base.
I'm just saying, and I'm saying out of character. We could, or I'll make that offer to her. We could take her there, and she can teleport home.
She says, I'd rather. You know what? I think could I trouble you to be a guest?
Oh, it's no trouble. There are many, many empty rooms.
Brilliant. Wonderful. I'll just stay here on the 60-year-old spaceship.
It's called the Fart's Revenge.
On the Fart's Revenge. Brilliant. Wonderful. On the far side of the moon. In a former Nazi spaceship.
With a demon, an alien nanoswarm, and ghost driving a Nazi demon. No, a ghost driving a Nazi clone driving demonic armor.
Nothing
In
to
a
eat.
space.
Nothing to sustain me but freeze-dried meatloaf and Raiderade.
And Pop-Tarts.
Arguably the most unhealthy drink ever invented.
Oh, says the legal team.
Yeah.
Can I quote you on that?
No, you cannot quote her in a monologue.
Does the spaceship? Do we have enough fuel to land and take off again? I figure on the moon it would be easier.
Yeah, totally. On the moon, you don't even need the thrusters to take off. You don't
we
use
just
the
use
thrusters for maneuvering. You just use the alteration of gravity fields around yourself.
Yeah. So Greg is going to land on the North Pole of the moon and start.
Take on building supplies.
Yeah, essentially, he's just going to load moon rocks into the cargo bay.
Greg, as you're standing
like,
out there on the regolith collecting rocks, you think to yourself, God, this would be easier if I built some kind of giant dust scoop. I could just scoop up the regolith.
Yeah, that's for next time.
Or like one of those machines that cuts tree roots and lifts the whole tree out of the ground in one fell swoop.
Or a shovel.
Or a shovel.
Shovel would be nice.
Or just like a big fucking front loader.
But for right now, Greg just has I'm going to say there's like a hover sled and a gracious
hover sled.
TKS accidentally left it behind.
TKS doesn't have a hover sled. They might have a hovercraft, but it's not anti-grav. They haven't built any prototypes yet.
Then Greg's got just a dolly on wheels.
There you go.
It just rolls it out to the lunar surface, piles it with rocks, brings it inside, dumps it, and goes back.
Yeah, kind of. The only exit is through the garage. Yuri, what does the garage look like?
Like I've got a Datsun there and a bunch of machinery covered up with tarps.
Yep, cool. That's what I thought.
Obviously, I safely depressurize everything before I open the bay, so it's not just explosive decompression that sends all of our supplies and everything careening out into space.
Good. And I think we might end it here with you guys taking on resources and making those final changes to your ship, building more fuel, making chairs, acquiring oxygen. And then, because it's looking like it'll probably be a sprint to the base, so we'll just do a 3.5 hour game next time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry we ruined your teleportation plan.
Doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. I'm like, they wouldn't just let you do that. They'd have to. It's like, oh, we want to make our own starting line. What? That's not how races work. Yeah, no, we'll be honorable. We promise we'll start when everyone else does. I wasn't trying to stop you guys doing that, but there's consequences for trying to change the way a race works.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Now we've got a star member of the legal team there to keep an eye on us.
You've got the newest member of the legal team there. They sent her through because she's more expendable than they are.
Poor Sarah. I would tell her to consider herself an honorary Ethereal, but other Ethereals usually wind up dead in our experience.
Just the one.
One was enough. Fantastic. How'd you guys find that?
Good. I liked it.
It was fun.
Cool.
I appreciated the role-playing opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I probably could have still done the actual first part of the race, but I figured might as well just leave it and we can all finish early instead.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
This was
and then we can just hammer through it.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah,
I can't imagine the moon is going to be terribly interesting terrain.
Yeah, indeed. And we've already done our slow crawl through the desert race. We don't need to reiterate those scenes again.
Right.
We can gloss over the slow crawl part of this and just get to the horrible death maze part where all the spaceships are falling on you or whatever.
Joy.
I'm going to run left when that happens.
No, you've just got to run a parallel to it.
Oh.
Well, not even parallel.
Just under it and watch as it slowly crushes you.
Run in its shadow. Fantastic. All right, well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that.
Yep.
Cool.
It was fun.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, is a really weird thing to say at the end of a podcast. Like someone wasn't listening to the entire thing. I don't know why I went to say that. Thank you for listening to Insert Quest here, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode of our Base Raiders campaign. If you have anything you'd like to share with us about this campaign, your thoughts on this game or this session, please let us know. And please find us across all the social media, including Twitter and Facebook. You can also access this podcast through SoundCloud or iTunes. And feel free to share it with anyone who might enjoy podcasts or role-playing games or weird superhero stuff. Either way, farewell from the past. I'm Raymond.